Inventory declined for the 14th week in a row. Interest rates also spiked. Let's talk about that and more in this week's segment of Market Watch. Hi everyone, it's Joshua Barks here, associate broker with Keller Williams Realty Boise and team lead of the Barks & Co. Real Estate team. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's segment of Market Watch. If you're new to the channel, we talk about the Boise area housing market on a week-over-week basis, and then once a month we go into a deep dive into our market dynamics to talk about what's going on in the area. And last week was both our deep dive for the recap on 2021 and also the market dynamics for December and predictions for 2022. So if you missed that, that's last week's video. The link to it's going to be in the description below. This week, we just have our short week over week numbers so we can see how we started off the first couple weeks of the year. Starting in with inventory, we actually saw inventory continue to decline. This is actually the 14th week in a row that we've seen inventory decline. Now, it's not dropped significantly. Last week we had 297 active listings on the market. This week we have 256. So it is a bit of a drop. However, we are seeing new listings come to market. We had 74 new listings hit the market in the last 7 days compared to last week when we only had 70, so slightly up there. I think we're going to see inventory can start to rise next week as we get into that, because we are starting to see more homes come on the market. So I anticipate that to continue to rise well into the spring. We are poised for a very strong spring market. In fact, pendings are increasing now. So inventory is still declining, but pendings increasing. We had 457 homes pending last week. This week we have 469. But the big difference is last week we only had 90 homes go under contract. This week we had 128. So buyers are getting back out there. The holidays are over and they're ready to crush their 2022 goals of buying a home. When you're looking at the number of homes sold, we saw a little bit less this week compared to last week, which is expected because homes sold typically take about 30 days. So you're seeing contracts close right now that started right before Christmas. So I anticipate next week's sales to also be fairly low and then start to pick up again as we get closer to the end of January, because that'll reflect the pendings that started earlier this year. So we had 151 homes sell last week. This week we had 137. So staying pretty consistent overall. For the homes that sold in the last week, the average days on market for those was 27 days. And then when you look at all of the pendings in MLS right now for Ada County, the average days on market is 31 days before they go pending. So we are seeing days on market increase. If you're looking at just the number of days on market for active listings right now in MLS, we're looking at 60 days. Now, a lot of that has to do with, again, overpricing listings and listings going on during the holidays and during the slower time of the year, and so a holdover from that. So I am anticipating days on market to continue to go up as inventory comes up, and hopefully that will start leveling out and matching with the pendings. But if you're trying to estimate how quickly are things selling, that average days of 31 days for the pendings is probably your best bet, because that's looking at how long it took to get an accepted offer on average for everything that's pending right now. Now, interest rates this week. Now, we were expecting interest rates to increase. The Fed actually said in a previous report that they were expecting to raise interest rates 3 times in 2022. Well, they've just come out and said that they're going to be raising rates 4 times instead of the 3, or potentially going to be raising it 4 times. And we're going to be seeing interest rates continue to rise. There isn't any indication that we're going to see interest rates drop anytime soon. And in fact, we actually saw them spike quite a bit this week. Last week, according to Freddie Mac, the national average for the 30-year fixed mortgage was 3.22%. This week, it's 3.45%. So not only is that a 23.23% increase week over week, that's the largest increase we've seen week over week, according to Freddie Mac's own chart on their website, since before the pandemic. And in fact, we are seeing pre-pandemic interest rate levels right now. So we had a 3.5 in February of 2020, end of February of 2020, and then we saw it go up to 3.65 and then start dropping because of the pandemic. So we're back to pre-pandemic levels, and interest rates aren't showing signs that they'll be slowing down anytime soon. Now, I'm not expecting them to continue to spike this rapidly, but I know that the Fed is trying to counteract all of the hyperinflation that's going on in our economy, and one of the tools that they have to do that is through interest rates. So interest rates are going to be likely rising still, and if you're a buyer right now, that means get your ducks in a row. If you're ready to buy now, you should buy while interest rates remain very low. Previous reports were saying interest rates would be about 3.5% by the middle of the year. They're almost already at 3.5%. So it'll be interesting to see whether interest rates flatten out at that 3.5% or if they continue to rise. We did see, if you remember this time last year, we did see interest rates spike a little bit in the early part of the year and then drop and stay pretty consistent through the summer. I don't know if that's going to happen again. I'm not an interest rate expert because that's on the lending side. What I am an expert in is market trends on actual housing supply and demand and things like that. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate in 2022, that's one of your goals, reach out to the real estate professional that you trust. I'd love to be interviewed as well because now is a great time to sit down with them, schedule a meeting, and strategize so that you can figure out what the best move is going to be for you. And then when you're ready and the market's right, you can actually hit the ground running because you've already done all the preparations up front instead of scrambling at the end to try to get everything ready to go. Well, that's pretty much all I have for you this week. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Go check out some fun open houses. We have one in the East End going on, so that'll be really cool. And if there's anything we can be doing for you, any questions or other things you want us to cover, just let us know in the comments below or send me an email. Thanks so much and have a great weekend.